from Vegas at Caesars Sportsbook. Now it's time to look at the playoffs as ESPN's summer forecast continues. This just dropped this morning on ESPN.com. Our panel of ESPN insiders voted. I hope you all vote.
I did.
Yeah, I did. I was off. Including the folks at this table. Starting in the East, our panel has the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks with the most votes to win the conference. Then a wide gap before Philly and Miami. So it's time for a little reporters roundtable. No surprise in the top two. But Jamal, do the Bucks see themselves as the favorites?
Just look at the way they operated this offseason. Run it back. They re-signed everybody, bringing back Bobby Portis, repaying Pat Connaughton. They felt like last year, if Chris Middleton doesn't slip in that Bulls series, they were going to repeat. And I think that opposed to Boston, who adds Malcolm Brogdon and adds Gallinari, and I think that they're going to have just a different dimension to their team. But Milwaukee looked at it, and they say they got the best player, and everything fits so well around Giannis that they want to give it another shot at it. And I'm curious to see how they do here now, 8 months from now, to see if that's.
I'm curious how they treat the regular season.
Yeah.
Because last year they came off the title and treated the regular season as more of a warm-up. Like, get into shape by the time the playoffs come around, but they didn't push as hard as they had in previous times.
They had a lot of injuries last year, too. Remember, Middleton goes out. Yep. Drew Holiday was out for time. Brooke Lopez misses almost the entire season. And I think that's still how they want to manage this. They got a lot of older players, counting on Wes Matthews, going to be 36 before the start of the season. Brooke, like I said, is 35 and coming off of back surgery. So they're going to try to get these guys to the end of the season. That's the most important for them. Because, again, if they got everybody on the court, they feel good about their team.
Well, look, so Jamal's point, they had a ton of injuries last year, but they went into that series thinking they had the chance to win the championship. They almost won it without Chris Middleton. And when you look at what they did this summer, you mentioned they mostly stand pat. The one thing they did do is add shooting. They get Joe Ingles, a guy that they think can come out there and hit shots for them in that Game 7 in Boston when they missed a million threes and lost that game. But look, they have the best player in the universe. I think if I'm a Bucks fan, I'm feeling pretty good about their chances, even though I do think a potential series with the Celtics, with a retooled bench, as you mentioned with Malcolm Brogdon and Noah Gallinari, that'd be a hell of a series.
Well, and I think especially with the two players that you just mentioned, Chris Middleton and Joe Ingles, we're not going to see them likely when we get going here in mid-October here because they're both coming off injuries here. So this is going to be a team that's built for mid-April, probably less during the regular season. I think that it will be interesting how much of a workload that Giannis is going to have to carry because this roster is older when you look at Wes Matthews, Serge Ibaka, Brooke Lopez, some of the players that they brought back.
So there's a pretty wide gap between the first two, Boston and Milwaukee. Then you have Philly and Miami, but Philly's ahead of Miami? Look, I was still here. I was still working during that series. Pretty sure the Heat won it. Like, what's happened here? Why is Philly ahead?
Well, I mean, if you go back to that series, Joel Embiid's face was broken. His thumb was broken. James Harden was not himself, and P.J. Tucker was on the Heat. So you put all that together, I think the Philadelphia 76ers had a really good offseason. We'll see if P.J. Tucker can still have the same juice he had the past couple of years in Milwaukee and Miami. The Bucks didn't think he could repeat what he did, so he goes to Miami, he repeats it again. But he is everything the Sixers have lacked from a defense and toughness and rebounding standpoint. So I think he'll help them a lot. And getting DeAnthony Melton also and Daniel House, two athletic wing players. This team really struggled with athleticism last year, and I think they're a lot better. I still think they're well behind Milwaukee and Boston, but I think they're going to be very good.
I ended up a little higher on Philly than I thought I would, too. And remember, they rebuilt that team on the fly, and there was so much dysfunction. And I think that Embiid, after missing out on MVP again, excited to see what he's going to do again and come back with a vengeance. So give him and Harden a chance to play together and get a little more chemistry together. I like their chances this year.
I think he said he's going to go for Defensive Player of the Year award because he can't seem to win MVP. So he's just going to put his focus on something different.
Joel told me he's done going for MVP. Yeah. But I suspect when the season starts, he'll still want to win MVP.
I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Ooh.
I know.
Bobby getting bold?
Hot takes, I know.
This going to be about Steph Curry again?
No, it's not. No. That one's we're not going to talk about ever again. I think we're going to be talking about James Harden in the top three when we talk about MVP conversations this year. I think this is.
Hold on. Let's stop.
I'm not saying he's winning it.
No. But if James Harden's in the top three of MVP, where do you have Philly finishing the East? Because to me, if he's that good, then you got to put them.
They're going to the conference finals.
So they're going to be right there.
I have them in Boston. I have them in Boston in the conference finals.
There you go.
I think this is a redemption year. I think the contract year for Harden because of that player option, giving back all that money here. I think you're going to run into a situation where when you add P.J. Tucker and Daniel House, I mean, all of it's going to be dependent on Joel Embiid's health, of course, here. But I think we're going to see the Houston version of James Harden in Philadelphia this year.
Well, there's no bigger question to me in the NBA this season than what version of James Harden's going to show up. Is it the guy that was in Brooklyn those first 2 months when he was maybe the best player in the league before he hurt his hamstring?
Yeah.
Or is it the guy that's been the player that's been since he hurt his hamstring, which is still a very good player, but a guy that's more of a top 18 to 25 player than a guy who's a top 3 to 5 player? If he's a top 3 to 5 player, everything changes.